One of our members turned $1,000 into $300,000 in 90 days, and I know exactly what you're thinking. You probably thought you got lucky. You probably thought you hit like one crazy trade, but that's actually not what happened. This is a long grind of being just a very disciplined trader, and I'm gonna break down exactly what happened, break down essentially everything from scratch to the 90-day period, and show you guys how this is able to even be possible, how the my team and the entire Discord server was able to help out this trader. So first thing before we get into it, this is not typical at all whatsoever. Most traders will lose money. In fact, 99% of meme coin traders lose money. So this is not like a one soul to like 1,000 soul, one soul in the dream type situation. This is not common. You can make a lot of money like this, but like this is a once and a blue moon story, turning basically nothing into a couple 100,000. Even stories that show up to people making a couple of millions of dollars, right? Trading is inherently risky as well. You gotta understand, especially with meme coins, it's the most like volatile piece of the trading ecosystem you can be a part. So as long as you understand that, then we can dive into this with a clear mind so that you can see what's possible still. And the reason I still want to show it is because this compounding strategy is still possible for people to go ahead and apply. So, but just know this isn't going to happen to everybody. So, firstly, just showing what actually ended up happening here. His name is Cake. He made $300,000 from $1,000 in 90 days. And as you can see, there's some screenshots. Me and my team reviewing it. Because when he first sent this, there's a lot of people who are in crypto. But I've known him for a very long time. But we still have to confirm. He confirmed everything on chain. He showed us all the trades. So this is 100% legit. And over here, I know it's like kind of cutting a little bit with my base camp. Over here is just explaining how basically the server and him learning the process made him become the trader he is today to get to the point he is right now. So now diving into what actually happened from day 0 all the way to that 90-day period, you have to understand that Cake and the most majority of traders are just not following the correct systems, and they have no idea what to do, right? They're following KOLs on Twitter. They're aping after people that show something in Telegram, right? And when Cake started, he was down bad. He got rinsed like over 10 times from complete scratch with zero, seeing no results at all. And he had $1,000 left, and one decision. He was like, man, I need to learn how I can get this shit going. And he had $1,000 left at the time, so like around 10 soul. He's like, man, I need to learn how to get this going. I need to stop fucking buying these trash calls and not thinking for myself. And I need to implement something that I know I can consistently do over time that has worked for others. And that's what he understood would take him to the next level to upgrade as a trader. The biggest switch that turned him from a losing trader to someone actually making money was following the trend factor formula. Now, this is a trading system that me and a couple of my friends had learned over the years of trading meme coins. I'd say it's the best trading strategy for meme coins in any sort of market, especially right now with volume being a little bit slower. In simple terms, like breaking it down, you mainly want to aim for a narrative that is very normie based. Like an example is like something like Tinting Sahur. That's something a lot of people know outside of crypto trading, right? So something that's just normie based is anything that like you can go down the street and ask the random kid and he knows without even knowing anything about crypto, right? Those are usually the best types of coins to buy, just because they gain so much attention and mainstream virality before even crypto Twitter catches up, before anyone on the broad generality of Twitter even catches up in general. You want to find a coin attached to that normie narrative and make sure that that coin is, bottomed out. There's not any PGPs or frags or anything like that. There's holders that are growing. There's actually volume, so there's demand there. And you want to make sure the coin's at a couple $100,000 market cap at least. I usually don't like buying anything under 100K. You can just be manipulated way too easily. Like a couple people can dunk and send the coin to zero. So it's early enough to still catch like a 10, 20x, which even you don't really even need that. Even consistent 2x plays like add up. But 100K, you're still early enough to like hit genuine X's, whereas people think they're late when it's not the case at all. And you're gonna dodge the headache of getting rugged from complete zero. There's a couple of rules that Doug Cake never broke that actually made him a successful trader over the last 90 days. So firstly, all he did was to make sure that every single trade he entered confirmed the transactor formula. So uh, we have the thing where it's like if it doesn't line up with the transactor formula, there's no entry, no volume, no entry. So we make sure we go through that checklist. We make sure everything falls into line, and then we can actually consider buying the coin. He also makes sure that he's buying bare minimum of 0.1% of the coin supply that had the adequate amount of actually being able to hold and seeing like good returns. Because when you have 0.1%, that means basically at $1 million market cap, your position is worth $1,000, right? So 5 million, your position is worth 5,000, and so on. And it's very easy to calculate the math since every coin on Solana launches with $1 billion of supply. So if you have 0.1 of the supply, you can make pretty good gains without the coin having to go that high. And you can exit at a couple mil and still make $1,000. Whereas owning anything under 0.1% just really isn't worth holding, because if the coin goes all the way to $1 million in market cap, your position is still under $1,000. Doug Cake is also very good at taking profits. Sometimes he will literally just buy and go for 30% to 40% scalp, 50%. But usually sometimes he will take initials at 2x and let the rest ride if he like truly believes in the narrative, and then just turn as the price continues to increase. The hardest part was the first 30 days because he obviously had to start from $1,000, but this point he went from $1,000 all the way to 16,000, and it was just continuously doing the same thing over and over again. The red stays, as I like to call it. Small positions, maximum strictness, and following the rules. And the goal wasn't really insane profit. It's proving to himself that he can follow the rules without like messing up or blowing up his portfolio or reg trading or any of that shit. And as you can see, as it builds up his sport, he's doing heavy DCAing. We really put a huge emphasis on the strategy of dollar cost averaging to lower your entry, so you can buy a good amount of supply and scoop it up while sentiment might be down, and then you can go ahead and take profit on the next catalyst. So on this trade specifically, he made $2,000 just by DCAing, and then he was able to essentially one-click everything for a 25 soul gain. And you can see at the bottom here saying cursor strategy works for real. This is essentially just following the transactor formula with all these trades. Now from day 31 to day 60, it was the same system, just like bigger size, since now he had $16,000 to play with. Nothing new was added, no new strategies, just doing the same exact thing over and over again, but buying bigger size relative to his portfolio, but making sure not to oversize himself. So like if he takes a loss, it doesn't like affect his portfolio too much. And here's a couple of trade recaps. Again, he did the same thing over and over again, and that got him up to about 100 soul realized in his P&L. And he calls it the whale strategy because he's buying a higher market cap. As you can see here, he's like thinking of getting the Rolex. And then we have members asking like, hey man, how are you following these trades? Like some members will try to trade a different style, and Doug Cake really got everyone onto following the trend factor formula, which is now the go-to for the entire server, and then run that across onto 5 others. At phase 3, so around like 60 days in, he was almost already at 6 figures, and it was just the same exact thing, but making sure he focused on runners specifically. And with finding the early runners, it's not luck, it's just exposure. Like being the market for this long and identifying like, okay, I can see that this is going to run because this ran last week or this ran and went to X amount of market cap. You can really develop a really good eye to know what's going to run in the market, and if you can just position yourself into that, you are going to win. Especially when you have like this much size, you really can just buy like 0.5%, maybe even 1% of a coin if you're early, and make really good return. All starts with just starting the narrative and then doing the on-chain check. This isn't like anything insane, but you don't want to make sure you're buying up on the coin, right? So you just want to check the volume and make sure there's actual real holders, no dumplers. Want to make sure, again, you're not buying below 100K market cap. You want to make sure you're actually holding. You don't really want the G. Basically waiting for adequate catalysts so that the price goes up, and then you can start exiting upon those catalysts and taking profits and every step is checkable. It is ran through a checklist, so you know exactly what to do every step of the way. Nothing is special. It's just following the rules over and over again and not breaking any So this involved no KOL calls on Twitter. I know you'll see a lot of your favorite influencers saying like, "Oh hey, buy this, buy this, buy that," but you're just going to be used as exit liquidity. The best way to go about Twitter is to use it for information and then come to your own consensus, come to your own research, or come to your own conclusion on coins and think for yourself. Dubcake actually didn't really have any revenge trades. If he lost the trade,